What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I got something a little bit different. Yes, we were out at the shop. There's the shop. Got all the cars out there and all that. But I get a ton of emails and a ton of DMs on Facebook, the Facebook page, the Instagram page, people that are kind of new to the Foxbody game. They don't know a whole heck of a lot about them, but they're really wanting to do a build. You know, they get inspired by, you know, seeing them on the internet and stuff like that. And I haven't been able to do this in a long time, and the second reason is we're often accused of all we do is coyote swaps. So we're going to change that, and we're actually starting a new build, and I'm going to show you the car in a minute. But for all of you guys that are kind of new to the game, and maybe some that are not, you know, maybe this will be helpful, maybe it won't, but I wanted to, we're kind of getting back to basics. So without any further talking, let's see what's up. Okay, so if you're new to the Foxbody game, we're just gonna basically start with the basics. And if you've been with the channel for a while, then you know we've got mass quantities of foxes out here. But anyway, we're doing something a little different. So this is the project. Picked it up last week down Mississippi, Memphis area, North Mississippi. This is a 93 electric current red, 1 year only color. LX. Now you're looking at it saying this thing absolutely looks terrible. I mean, you can see the paint is like coming off. Obviously the car sat in the sun for a long time. Why would you even want this car? And that's what we're about to get into, and just kind of go over, you know, why this car is special. Okay, so basically the times have changed with the Foxbodies. You know, back 10, 15, 20, even 25 years ago, when you were looking for a Foxbody, you know, the first thing you were going to do was modify it. If it already had parts on it, you were already that much ahead because you were going to do those parts anyway. Now what is happening is stock Foxbodies are getting extremely hard to find. True Survivor, I'm calling this car a Survivor. It's a rough Survivor, but it is a Survivor nonetheless. These cars are getting extremely hard to find. So let's kind of walk around this car a little bit. Like I said, 1 year only color, electric red. The interior, this is what I like about this car, and you're going to look at it and be like, what in God's name do you like about this car? As you can look at the dash, there's not a bunch of gauges and BS everywhere. There hasn't been any dyeing in the interior. People haven't come in and painted crap. They haven't stuck Cobras on the dash. I mean, let's get in here and look at this. It has had a radio installed. It is an AOD car, but it hasn't been messed with. There's not excessive wear anywhere. I mean, the seat does have a hole in it. Well, it's actually not even a hole. It's just starting to fray a little bit. The bolsters are a little rough, but the seats are not overly nasty. They're not overly stained. Hold on, let's look at the back here. I mean, this is a true Survivor car. This car was driven and used. It was probably driven a lot, and it apparently, you know, just judging from the paint, it didn't sit out in the garage, or excuse me, it didn't sit in a garage. But I mean, you look at it and everything is here and in pretty decent shape for what is, you know, basically a 25-year-old car. I mean, this little stuff right here is super easy to fix. So, you know, that's one of the main reasons I'm calling this a true Survivor car. If you ever hear that term, that's kind of the definition. Okay, so let's kind of look at the outside here. Again, the paint is rough. It is rough, but it hasn't been painted on everywhere. It's an honest car. I mean, it's not hiding anything, and that is a really good thing. I mean, you're not going to strip this car down, find huge spots of Bondo and all that. Obviously, it's a Southern car. There's no rust anywhere, so that's another major plus. Again, the paint is rough. It's not perfect, but all the original emblems are there. All the original lights are there. It hasn't been dicked with. You can tell that's the original OEM emblem. The original ponies. These are the original OEM Ford ponies that came with the car back in '93. Again, no rust. The quarter glasses are not horrible, but obviously they're going to need to be replaced. You know, little stuff like this is easy to replace. There's nothing to it. I mean, there's literally one screw to replace this belt molding, and that would look beautiful again. You know, the paint on the mirrors is bad, but I mean, who cares? Original 5.0 badges are there. It's gonna need tires and all that, but like you look at the fender here, there's your VIN tag. There's the VIN tag for the hood. There's the VIN tag for the front bumper cover. You know, so those are just a few of the things I'm looking for when I look at a car. I would rather have a paint in this condition than I would like a half-ass respray that's hiding God knows what underneath it, whether it's shoddy rust repair or shoddy body work. I mean, it doesn't matter. I would take this over another Fox body that had, you know, a $3,000 paint job and I didn't know what was underneath it. Okay, so let's talk about under the hood for a second. As you can see, again, this car has not been messed with. I mean, there's literally zero modifications other than, you know, somebody put a K&N panel filter and the air intake silencer is gone. Other than that, the car is stock. I mean, everything is stock. It looks like at some point it had a tune-up because these aren't the date-coded wires, you know, so, I mean, who really cares about that? But everything is still here, the air conditioning, the power steering. One quick note, yes, the smog pump way down there, it did lock up at some point. And so they popped the pulley off and did the alternate belt routing on it. Fairly typical of a Fox body, nothing to worry about. And actually, let's get back over here a second. You can see down here, all the smog is still here. Every bit of it. All the little solenoids, lines that go to the exhaust, everything is still there. That is extremely hard to find. I mean, this is the way you want to buy a car. Something that has not been messed with, you know, by, you know, someone who might consider themselves a mechanic but is definitely not a mechanic. This is how you want to buy the car, right here. I would pay more for this than a car that's been modified, simply because I know it's just the way Ford got it. All right, so let's take a look at a few other things that you're going to note on a Fox body. You're going to need door pins, and it actually looks like someone's done it at some point because that's not original. And yeah, so we're gonna need to do some door pins. Let's fire this turd up. Thing is smooth. Oh my God, it runs so freaking good. Now, if you look at the mileage, it says 5.3. I'm looking at the pedals down here. I'm thinking that's probably gonna be 153, which is, you know, about right. But here's another cool thing. The air is ice cold, and if you saw what I showed the engine a minute ago, it has not been converted to R134, so that is the original AC stuff. Of course, the ashtray door is broken. It's not a hard fix. This is an AOD car. The AOD's got some issues, which we've got another one in the shop, so not even worried about that. Got some splitting up here. Again, you can replace these, it's no problem. Little trim pieces like over here that are missing, you can buy those super cheap, and that's literally one screw to install those, so it's not anything to worry about. But this car purrs like a kitten, and again, it's still got the original catalytic converters. It does have a catback on it, but it's stock. It's totally stock. And again, you cannot find them. People mess with these cars, they dick with them, they screw them up and then sell them off and all that other stuff. But I mean, listen to this engine. This thing is smooth as silk. This is how you buy a Fox body, or at least how I buy a Fox body. Okay, so to get a little deeper into the meat and potatoes of you know, why I'm doing this video. So if you're kind of new to the Fox game, maybe not, but you buy a Fox body like this and you're kind of like, you know, where do I start? What do I do? First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a tune-up. I'm gonna do plugs, wires, cap, rotor. Rotors are nothing to replace. Do all the tune-up stuff, you know, just make sure everything is new and fresh. Use Ford parts wherever possible. You know, just get the engine tuned up and ready to go. Check the air filter. If it's got a K&N, clean the K&N. If it doesn't, you know, put a K&N in, or just put a stock air filter in it. Like this belt, you can see the cracks in it. That belt needs to be replaced. You know, that's pretty much all you need to do under the hood. Everything is pretty good. You know, check your vacuum lines, like this one right here. We're going to replace that, but the other vacuum lines look good. So yeah, I mean, it's not a whole heck of a lot under the hood. And actually, new radiator cap, that would be nice because she leaking. Okay, so moving on, back to the rest of the car. What else am I gonna do? So we've kind of got things under hood pretty good. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the transmission fluid, regardless if it's an AOD or a T5. Change the transmission fluid. That way you know it's good. You know, regardless of what the fluid looks like, just go ahead and change it and know it's right. Moving on, I'm gonna change the rear diff fluid, 80W90 with some friction modifier, and you're good to go. Just make sure that's good. Make sure you don't have any trouble with the rear end. Then I'm also going to change the fuel filter, which is just forward of the gas tank underneath the car. Change that out. It's just got little clips, so there's no special tools required on these. And let's see, what else? Check all your bulbs. You know, make sure all the lights work, so you don't get a ticket when you're out driving it. Tires, obviously, like in this case, it needs tires bad. And you know, once you get all of your mechanical stuff done, that's when you can start, you know, doing some of the resto, you know, maybe adding a little bit of horsepower, whatever you want to do, you know, stuff like this. As cheap as these lights are, it makes no sense not to change them out. Don't bother restoring them. You can get a nice kit, super cheap, that's really going to bring this front end back to life. So the other things I'm going to do are, you know, drive the car and just see how it runs. Make sure there's no misfires. Make sure the transmission and or clutch are tight, right? Make sure the, you know, all the temperatures are right, the oil pressures are right. Obviously, change the oil in the engine. Use a Ford filter. I like Motorcraft oil. The 5W20 semi-synthetic is fine. You know, you can do more, but it's really, there's really no point in it. You know, and just see how everything goes. Listen for noises in the rear end. Listen for noises in the transmission. You know, check all your heater hoses and stuff like this. Right here are your heater hoses. Check for leaks right there. As far as the coolant, and then of course you've got some heater hoses right here. Check those. Those will leak over time. This one looks like it's had a new upper radiator hose already put on. Intake gaskets, you'll see them if they're leaking. You'll have some oil or coolant right there on top of the timing cover. So, you know, check those. And, you know, just look around under here by the injectors. Make sure the O-rings didn't get dried out or anything like that and you're leaking oil. But I mean, or not oil, gas. I mean, but that's something you'll be able to smell. But as far as, you know, just getting a car, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure all the tune-up stuff, all the fluids, you know, everything is right before I go any farther. Once I do that, depending on the build, you know, I might start adding a little horsepower, you know, might start doing little projects like, you know, replacing right here, stuff like that, you know, switches, you know, whatever you want to do, like, you know, right there on the console, you can buy all these parts. Every one of these parts are available for sale. Okay, so last and final thought. You're probably wondering, why is this car here? Because we're actually going to do everything that I just told you about. We're going to do it. Again, we've been accused of, you know, just coyote swapping everything, you know, all only wanting to go fast, stuff like that. And with so many messages and emails and everything else of people saying, you know, asking stuff about the stock cars, you know, we just decided this build right here would be absolutely perfect. We're going to restore this car. We're going to fix everything and just bring it back 100% stock and just enjoy it, drive it. And, you know, stock Fox bodies, even though they're not very much like fast, they are a whole heck of a lot of fun. And again, you don't see them on the road. Nobody drives the cars for some reason, but that's what we're going to do. You're going to love it. I promise. All the little projects that we have not covered on the channel, we're going to cover on this car and give this car a new lease on life. All right, guys, so there you have it. This is the new project car. We're going to do all the stuff that you have not seen us do, fixing all the little small stuff. And most importantly is we're going to bring this 93 LX back to life, and it's going to be stock. We're not swapping it. We're not putting nitrous or headers or head or anything else like that. This is going to be a stock build, super fun car to drive and just enjoy, because, you know, that's what made all of us fall in love with these cars way back in the day was, you know, how they looked, how they ran, how they sounded, all that. So that's what we're going to do. So stay tuned for lots of builds on this. And of course, we're going to get back on my Coyote swap. We got to finish the Coyote swap wagon. We got Alex's car. I mean, we've got a ton of builds going, so make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I promise you, you are not going to want to miss it. We're doing everything here at the shop just so, you know, hopefully you enjoy it. Maybe get something out of it. I don't know. But in the meantime, if you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, and we'll holler later. See you guys.